The Black Garden by Dark Law. In the heart of night where shadows dance, there blooms a garden, rich and vast, a place where love and truth entwine, entangled roots and vines divine. Beneath the moon's soft silver light lies hidden paths to endless night. Here whispers echo, raw and deep, of love once lost and secrets keep. In every petal, stories bloom of passion's fire and tender doom. The thorns may pierce, the darkness calls, yet in this garden no one falls. For in the shadows truth is found, in whispers soft, yet so profound. The black garden, where hearts are bared, a place where souls are deeply shared. In the deep dark soil of night lies seeds of hope, of wrongs made right. Here in this garden, lovers learn that from the ashes they can burn. With every step the light may fade, yet in this place foundations laid. The black garden where love takes root in soil rich with life's pursuit. Through storms and winds, the petals cling, and in the darkness, hearts will sing. For here in shadows, truth does start, the black garden where we find our heart. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Creative Dominion podcast with our host, Dark Law. And welcome to episode 18 of our brand new Black Garden Dating and Relationship series, releasing in September of 2024. And I am so ecstatic to announce that we have a very special guest joining us inside Black Garden today. From the other side of the world, because we are in the Midwest, we have Miss Claire Dore out of the UK. And so again, it's the UK. So not the United, not Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom. That's only 3 hours away. We have the United Kingdom. And so how are you, Claire?
Thank you. Well, I'm delighted to be here and I am great. I'm excited to have a deep conversation about all things dating and relationships and anything else that comes up.
Awesome. And so again, from the other side of the world in the wonderful country of the United Kingdom. And so as I start off with every episode, we're going to come from a different perspective on dating relationships. And I always like to preface with the audience, everything that's said today may not resonate with you. And this is for all walks of life. Maybe you're dating, maybe you're married, maybe you're divorced, maybe you're widowed, maybe you're still searching for someone or searching for that significant other, that dream partner. And so this episode is for all involved. And so you might hear some things that maybe you don't have experience in, or maybe you never heard before, but I just encourage everyone and challenge everyone to keep an open mind and find one thing that resonates with that said today that you can apply to your life, starting as soon as possible, and, become the best version of yourself, and always decree the dominion of your own mind. And so, like I always say, I hope the thorns of the black garden don't prick you too hard as we go through inside. So make sure you have your Band-Aids and your peroxide and your rubbing alcohol to clean up any cuts or bruises that you might have. And so again, welcome inside Black Garden, episode 18 with Miss Claire. And so first question I want to ask, and we'll get rolling. What inspired you the most to become a dating and relationship coach?
That is a great question. It's really born out of my own evolution and my own authentic path. And when I first started out in coaching 8 years ago, so I've been an entrepreneur now for 15 years, but in this current business for the last 8. And I was very much kind of like in the mindset world of coaching. And then over time, that is evolved as I've evolved. In July 21, I left my 21-year marriage. And in December, well, it was kind of January 22, I stepped into dating. And essentially, I stepped into dating from a very conscious place. And I've written a whole book on this. And I kind of really went into that all in, and every single guy that I dated taught me something about myself. And so it's been a really big part of my journey to process a lot of my childhood wounds that were coming up and conditioning to really release that. And so I've just like become this dating expert essentially off the back of walking this path myself. So everything that I take my clients through, I've navigated and I've learned ways to move through that. So yeah, that's really the essence of my work.
So I love that you say that because with anything in life, like you want someone that, especially being a coach, you want a coach that's, been on the battlefield with you, right? When you're looking to hire a coach or be a client, you want someone that has practical application within their own life and not just, what we call in the entrepreneur world, like the fluff or like the rah-rah, right? Or just the cliche quotes like, hey, get out there, just like football, American football, slap them on the butt, like get out there and, win, right? You go, team, go. You got this. Especially in the dating and coaching realm, when you want to coach clients, you definitely, want to relate to them in a way that they understand and not just, be reading stuff off Google or social media of, like those cliches. And so again, like I said to all the audience before we came inside the Black Garden, we're deep inside the garden now. And so there's no going back. And Claire's going to come from a very pure perspective because everything that she's going to speak on is something that she went through herself. And so again, you say you were married 21 years. And so can you walk us through, your mindset leading up into marriage and like why you decided to leave?
Yeah, that gave me goosebumps actually. I've got like head to toe chills around that. Not in a bad way. It's just like just really taking myself. When you asked me that, it's like I took myself back to the Claire that I was, that version of me when I stepped into that relationship and got married, and something that I have uncovered, and this has really been my journey since leaving, is awakening to the fact that I thought I wanted the fairy tale and I created the fairy tale. And if I think back to being a little girl, and I was never crazy about art, but I could draw one thing, which was the same picture over and over again, which was a house, a man and wife, children, a dog, a tree, a car. Like that's what I used to draw. And if you think the power of visualization, right? We create through visualization, created that. But what I realized and woke up to, I was kind of, I say this in inverted commas, but like I was happy enough. So I was just kind of like coasting. And I think what I really noticed was the more I was waking up to the truth of who I was, the more I was really seeing how I'd molded myself within the relationship. Like I'd shrunk myself to fit and based on the conditioning that I was carrying, thinking, it was almost like as soon as I gave birth, it was like, oh, I better be sensible now. And just kind of lost a whole big part of me through my own doing, right? I think, that relationship has taught me so much about myself, which I'm deeply grateful. And I have, incredible children, 3 children out of that relationship. And I have a great ex-husband who is an incredible father to my kids. So, but yeah, it was just like really an enlightening moment. And it became, so how I stepped in, was very much kind of a conditioned woman. And how I stepped out was this woman walking on a path that she didn't know. She had no idea what the next step was, and she really just had to lean on trust within herself.
I love that you said that because sometimes people
Again, that's why we're in the Black Garden, because sometimes people look at divorce or look at separation as, you know, again, the premise of there's both sides, there's multiple layers and levels to, separation and divorce. And I love that you said that, because not everything has to be like, domestic violence or abuse or cheating or, infidelity. You know, it can just be two parties mutually agreeing to part ways for the betterment of each other. And I love that you said that, because,
Mm,
again, I'm a single father of twin boys that co-parent, and me and the twins, mom is, the same way. We both get along well. We both, have joint custody, split the time 50-50, holidays, everything, help each other with the kids as needed. And, I love that you said that, because I want to encourage, some of the listeners on here that just because the relationship in its current state didn't work out doesn't mean that, your life is over, or, you know, there's no reconciliation when it comes to being cordial and being respectful. And, that doesn't make either party a bad person or, less than, just because the relationship didn't work. And so I love that you said that, because,
mm,
you know, from the darkness of leaving the relationship and the fear of the unknown, right? The reason why, society looks at like separation, divorce, and a negative light is the fear of not knowing what to do since you've been in the relationship, right? Or how do you stand on your own 2 feet, being together, especially in your case, 20 plus years. And I just want to encourage the audience that, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Your light's still going to shine, whether you're in a relationship or not. And so I would love to hear your opinion and your take on, finding yourself once you left, and,
mm.
standing on your own 2 feet, 10 toes down.
Yeah. I just want to just actually speak to something that you said, actually, because it takes a lot of courage to leave. It really does. And it is easier and safer to stay. However, I heard this the other day and I was like, yes, this was so true for me. Was someone said, when you need to leave because you feel your spirit and your soul can no longer expand. And that's exactly how I felt. It was like the relationship was draining my energy, and I'm here for a big mission. And it was like, you have to leave and make this really uncomfortable step to be able to expand your soul. And if you think about, we create from energy. And if our energy is being leaked and drained in some way because something's out of alignment, then we can't put it into what we're creating and the impact that we're here to make. So, yeah, just wanted to touch on that after, what you shared, because, I think it's really relevant. And also celebrating you for creating a great co-parenting relationship, right? Because that takes a lot of energy and really kind of really managing your emotion around that, because it brings up a lot, going through that. So yeah, it's great when that really works out. So yeah, great that you've created that too. So you asked me about, did you ask me the question again?
Oh yes. So like, as you were separate and left, how are you able to trust in yourself and stand on your own 2 feet and develop that?
Yeah. Well, that's a big question. I'm not going to lie. And it's been a huge journey and continues to be. I noticed that something I really recognize. It's like I remember when my divorce came through. I remember receiving that email a year after I'd left. And I was just like, celebrating, like, oh, this part is like, but actually, what I realized was it was just starting. Like the journey was actually just starting, because then it was like, okay, I really am standing my own as a single woman with a responsibility of 3 children, this co-parenting role, running a business, looking after my needs and myself. And it's been huge. It's been huge. It's been a roller coaster, I'm not going to lie. It's been allowing myself. And well, here's the thing. This is what I've noticed since the start of my awakening. It's like it cracks your whole being open, so you feel on another level. And what I've been through is like the grief that I've felt has been, just like, just really floored me at times. And I think, yes, I left, but that doesn't mean you're not grieving the future that you thought you had and the whole relationship. Like 21 years of effort and energy and time that I put into that. And so it's been a massive journey of navigating grief. But in that, what I really have noticed is how, when you allow yourself to really truly feel, not only do you feel, those the grief and the sadness, which, we've been told are negative emotions, but actually in I believe they're just emotions, that's just the conditioning. We've been told that. And so not to feel those, but actually when you allow yourself to feel all those, you get to feel all the highs as well. So it's been very much a journey of really allowing myself to feel and navigating all the pieces that I was having to do alone. So, just like a seemingly small thing, but like I seem to get loads of problems with my car. And I realized I'd never, ever been interested the car when I was married. Like my ex-husband dealt with the car. He also dealt with the finances. So those two pieces have been huge pieces that I've had to work through and create safety within my own body, because a lot of that has come back to conditioning. Creating that safety has been the biggest piece. And this is very much what I teach. And, I always see that it's like no coincidence the clients that I attract, because it's almost like they're going through exactly what I've just gone through. So it's really like, just like a beautiful experience to be able to support and hold them through something I've just literally navigated. So I think the biggest thing has been holding myself on my own. I haven't been in another relationship. I've had some incredible dating experiences, but haven't had someone by my side for very long. And so it has really been a case of surrendering and trusting that the universe has got me, and realizing that those times of real discomfort is the times when I'm actually expanding myself.
I love what you said there, because it goes right into the premise of, what the podcast stands for, is guiding yourself through the darkness to get to the light. And I love what you said there with, it's not perfect. We kind of see social media and we see the TV shows like, oh, it's all perfect. It's all sunshine and rainbows. You got divorced, or, it's a big party. And I love what you said when you said, the final papers, the final confirmation came through. You have your wine and your champagne and, your cake and your party with your friends, all of your girls' night out, right? But you really just said, now the real journey begins, because a lot of what expands us as individuals is the shadow work, the darkness, when the lights are off, and everybody's phones off, the sleep, the room's dark, TV's off, the fans going on, and there's nothing but you and your thoughts, you and your values, you and your morals. That's when the real version of yourself is revealed and stands up. And the question is, now you get to see who you really are, because I always say, your parents aren't coming to save you. Your kids can't save you. You know, there's no significant other to save you. There's only you and yourself. I always say it always ends and begins in you. And, when you look in the mirror, I challenge everyone that's listening to this episode right now to look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you really know who you are? Whether you're in a relationship or not, are you satisfied with who you are becoming? And if the answer is no, then you know that, you're still on this journey and you still have work to do because, again, what you said at the beginning is we're all put on earth for an assignment. We're all put on earth for a mission. And so as we navigate through this journey of life, this infinite game of life, which is a great book by Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game, is we have to focus on our assignment. And as you were speaking on your marriage, it resonated with me that, we know, like you said, we know when it's time to leave something. We all remember back in college or, university, you go to the party and you get that weird feeling, it's getting late, you've already had your drinks. It's, somebody walks in or there's just a weird vibe or a very negative like energy. And it's like, all right, it's time for us to go. Or, you see something you didn't need to see or didn't want to see. It's like, all right, it's time for me to head home, And then I like to create, like you were talking about with your car, when it's time to change the oil, you don't just, stuff starts to like not work properly on the car. And so you can't just drive the car at its optimal rate, with, no tires, with no oil, no, if the steering wheel doesn't work, you're never going to go anywhere. So that's the same thing with our bodies, with our minds, with our souls. If there's too much junk in your mind, too much junk in your soul, too much weighing you down in a relationship or, with anything in life, then you're not going anywhere. And so you continue to drown yourself. And I love one thing that you said is accountability. Be accountable for yourself because, again, it's the conditioning that we create for ourselves. It's not our parents' fault. It's what we allow at our current state. And so I love that you, and it's a never ending journey, right? It's an infinite game, nobody's perfect. Nobody's arrived.
No, I really like to talk in my work about the truth, about the reality. Yes, I celebrate the great times, 100%. That's really deeply important. But I also make sure that there is space for what is really true and authentic. Because, even, we are, I always think of coaches and mentors and leaders. It's like we are the light bearers. And it's like, making it all look like it's all really glossy and, 7 figures, baby, and all this stuff is like just not the reality for most people. And we are human beings that feel things and are, like you say, clearing out all the stuff and junk that's in our minds that really trips us up and sabotages us.
And I love what you said with leadership. Again, a lot of people, we try to put the glitter. We always say everything that glitter ain't gold, And, my mom always said everything that look good ain't good for you. And so, again, we see social media, you see the Ferraris and the big house and like you said, the 6 figures. And we see everything glorified with just the good things. Like, oh, they're got a nice outfit, nice purse, nice shoes. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do that because they have this. But what we miss in translation is all the dark moments that took to get there, all the tears cried, all the sleepless nights, all the despair, the grief, the pain, the frustration, the anger, like, oh, I didn't make that sale. Oh, I didn't, get that contract. I didn't secure this buyer. There's a lot of that that's, we always say choose your hard, right? Winning is hard, losing is hard, which one are you going to be?
And I think, it's even deeper than that. For me, I'll be really honest. Like, yes, there's been the disappointment around, not gaining the sales and all those things. But actually, when you are faced with, I don't actually know how I'm going to feed my children tonight because I don't have enough money in my bank account. Like, that's when it gets really uncomfortable. And, I feel like it's really interesting. Like, I feel like I've had to almost get to this place of absolute discomfort and like lose as much as possible to be able to, then build from a place of, like a solid foundation within myself. It's almost like, it's like, I definitely feel like there's something greater for me. I'm smiling because I was walking back from my CrossFit session this morning and I was like, I just feel like the universe has a greater plan for me and I'm supposed to literally lose everything to be able to stand on stages and go, I know how that feels. Yeah, I mean, literally this morning I had £1.44 to my name. I've had that for a while. My children are coming for dinner tonight. And I was like, okay, all I can do now is just let go, right? Bills are bouncing like crazy. And I'm like, all I have to do is just let go and surrender, make the calls that I need to make and get into a space and an energy, like my creative energy, my sexual energy, because that's both the same. Get into that, write some really incredible content, call those clients in. But interestingly, off the back of me walking home and like just, being in that space of surrender, 2 clients had dropped in my DM this morning. And I share that because I just believe there will probably be women and maybe men listening to this going, well, it's all right for her.
I love that you said that because of that, again,
thank you.
that power of manifestation. Control what you say to yourself and your thoughts and what you say permeates. So like if all you're saying is negative, like, oh, I'm not good enough, I'll never get the sale, I'll never get maybe you want a new job, or I'll never get the promotion, or I'll never become a boss or a manager, I'm never going to lose weight, or I'm never going to find like on the premise of dating and relationships, I'm never going to find a man or a woman, or I'm never going to be a happy relationship. If you tell yourself that, you're going to keep attracting unhealthy relationships and bad habits. But if you, I love what you said with surrender, because a lot of times we put a limit on the creator, and we have to realize that you wouldn't get too much that you can't bear. And another thing you said that I want to speak on real quick is the subject of loss. A lot of times what we lose a lot of materialistic things. And the reason I say that is because we don't know what we have until we lost it.
It's so true.
And what you're losing the things that you really didn't need in the first place, and you're finding what was already inside yourself that you overlooked due to the conditioning that we talked about earlier. And so I just want everybody to look in the mirror right now and think of your greatest loss. Think of, your darkest moment and the greatest loss, and what have you become from that? We've seen athletes, we've seen mentors, coaches, poets, writers, authors. Everybody's had that one dark moment. Maybe it's a death in the family, maybe it's a severe grief, maybe it's, losing a house, losing a car, losing a family member, losing a spouse, or, ending a relationship. We've all had that dark moment that has allowed us to elevate ourselves. And so what you have to ask yourself is, for example, if someone's wealthy and they've never lost a house or lost anything, how do you know if you're wealthy? if you never lose anything, right? You're always going to be conditioned to, well, I've always had money. But until you lose all your money, then you'll never know how much money actually meant to you, or how much that you actually um, didn't really need all that money. So then when you get back, now you can help other people and inspire other people and let them know that, hey, what I really needed was already inside me, but I was too, stuck on just money. And same thing for relationships. A lot of time, how many talents do you have that I want to talk on this real quick because, let's say let's say you like going to the gym, like you said, CrossFit. Well, if you get in a relationship, this is just for example purposes, but if you get in a relationship, don't stop doing CrossFit. And maybe you're listening, and maybe you like to cook, or maybe you're a woman that likes to sing, or maybe maybe you have a best friend that you and your girls like to go out on Friday nights and go bowling, or, have a glass of wine and have girl talk. If you get in a relationship, don't stop doing you because of the relationship, because then you end up losing yourself and becoming conditioned. And then when it's time to go and the relationship ends, now you have to relearn yourself all over again. And so that's like the premise of the loss. And so you're losing the relationship, but really what you're doing is finding.
And that's it. It's like, in the dating world, it's always about, focusing your energy on you first. One of the things you said then about losing, thank you, by the way, for the wisdom you shared all around money. I think that was really powerful for me to hear. And I had a really interesting spiritual moment. So my awakening started, and I know the exact date because I felt something shift in my body. And then from that moment on, it was like I just came home to myself. So that was just over 3 years ago. So anyway, about 4 days, it was 4 days after that happened. I was still married then. It was in July 21. And me and my ex-husband were building 2 houses, right? One I designed, it was our dream family home. The other one we were going to sell or rent out, weren't quite sure. Anyway, I was stood in front of the house, they were building it, and just in that moment, I had this message pin just going, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is your heart, right? I remember just those words were like so clear for me. I just like took those words, didn't really know what exactly they meant in that moment. 3 weeks later was when the words, I'm leaving you, fell out of my mouth. And I remember my ex-husband saying, I want the house. And I knew in my heart, didn't need the house, right? All I needed was my heart. So then suddenly those words were like, well, I didn't need to put up a fight for that because he could have the house. I didn't want it. He sat on an asset that's worth over 7 figures, right? Wasn't important to me. And I think, like you say, we think those things are important, but those things do not matter. And you only recognize that when you don't have them.
Exactly. I love that you said that because a lot of times we'll get that moment, but we don't. A great word of wisdom we've always heard is that when the time is right, you'll know what to do. I've actually never shared this, but so I'll share now. But I just remember this was actually a few years back. It's about 2 to 3 years ago, and I remember I'm sleeping and having this vision. And I'm born and raised in Kentucky, so in the Midwest in the States. And in this vision, I was in my hometown at my hometown church. So again, I'm Pentecostal, grew up Christian Pentecostal. And I'm in my home church, Daughter of Bethlehem, Baptist Pentecostal Church in Christ, Lexington, Kentucky. And so in this vision, I'm surrounded by all my family members that have since passed on both sides of my family. So not just because again, this is my dad's side of the family from where I'm from in that church. but it's my granddad, it's all my ancestors, and I still remember my aunts, my uncles, and everybody's dressed in white, and they're sitting on the pews of the church, and everybody's happy, everybody's smiling, everybody's having church joyous. And towards the back of the church is the doors to exit, and I just remember my whole family members pointing to the exit, and it's like this white light, and all I remember are the words is, when the time is right, you'll know what to do. And fast forward, this is again 3+ years ago, and fast forward, at the time I was had my own marketing business. I had left that, and it was one random morning. It was actually last year around September, and I woke up for work at 5 in the morning, and I was just like, I was actually supposed to do a podcast with a buddy of mine on sports, 2 years ago, and that fell through. And so upon this random morning in September of 2023, I had woke up at 5 in the morning. It was like, and that's when I made the decision that I'm going to start a podcast. Didn't know what it would be about, didn't know the name, didn't know the create the money, didn't know Dark Law, didn't know anything, but
Okay.
that's the moment that I started mapping out, starting my own journey of podcasting and spreading awareness. And then it has, continued to come to fruition, almost a year later, exactly almost a year later, when this series releases. So I love that you said that about that vision, because a lot of times we get the words of wisdom and the vision, and it's not applicable at that moment in time. But when the times comes for it, like my ancestor said, when the time is right, you'll know what to do. And
Yeah.
there's countless of stories on that, in the Bible and in different books and just different aspects of life on, and that's why we have to become the best version of ourselves daily and continue to grow and expand, because you might learn something, you might meet somebody tomorrow, and they might teach you something you never understood, or they might, you might learn something that you never thought that you would learn, or, and so I share that just to say this, that as you're listening to this episode, don't get worried in well doing, and listen to your heart, listen to your soul, listen to your mind. That's the premise of the story, because that was a conviction that I received, but you have to be committed to the conviction. And so I know there's somebody that's going to listen to this episode, and you might have had a spiritual moment last week or just last night, and you didn't know what it meant. You might have thought it was just a dream that you woke up from. But I encourage you to listen and apply. Again, I said at the beginning of the episode, take something that resonates and apply it to your life on a daily basis to become the best version of yourself. And so I just want to encourage, I know there's multiple people that are going to listen to that and going to be like, wow, I had this dream last night and now I know what it means. And then, continue to be committed to your progression and to your expansion of yourself.
100%. Well, I think there's lots of juicy wisdom within this episode that I think people will take from that. And I think, it's we don't always know in the moment, but it's like another moment of just trusting we are exactly where we're meant to be and on the right path.
Awesome. And so again, like I said, it's been a wonderful journey inside the Black Garden. And so with that being said, Claire, what are some last minute tips and motivation that you could give for those looking for love or any dating relationship advice on, continuing to expand and find oneself, and also tell the audience where they could find you as well?
Thank you. Do you know what's really, really present for me right now? And I actually had a radio interview on this earlier, which is around stepping off dating apps to date. Because And I speak again from my own experience here and what I see with my clients. But what I really noticed was even though I had strong boundaries around, not having my notifications on and wouldn't check it, at particular times. So I was quite clear about that. But it still took my energy. So it'd still be a thought that might drop in, I don't know, lunchtime or whenever, with, I wonder if so and so's messaged me back, or, oh, I wonder if I've got any likes, right? And dating apps essentially feed a dopamine hit. They can, I say can, be an addiction, right? Because you're also getting people say, oh, you've got beautiful eyes, and you could see it as external validation. And I think I am really kind of feeling like I am a champion to really support people in stepping away from the apps and focusing that energy on themselves to really become, like you've said all the way through, become that more expanded version and the best version of themselves today and tomorrow and in every moment, because the energy we put over there towards the apps is just being taken away from the energy we could focus on ourselves. And it's our energy that attracts. And you touched on earlier about, in a relationship, making sure you do the things that light you up, the things that you love. Absolutely, 100%. Like the things that make you feel good are the things to put your energy into. And that's most likely where you may end up meeting someone. That's my belief and my perspective right now.
I love what you said that because it's funny, like that's why I love, podcasting and having conversations. Because it was just actually yesterday after work. I just stopped by the gas station just to grab a drink, and there was this lady in there, just a really beautiful lady with her kids, and she had a really nice tattoo. And I grabbed my drink, and I just, just lightheartedly said, I really like your tattoo. And, she was like, oh, thanks. And, we had like a short exchange of words, and that was it. But me and my friends were, texting on the phone, and I was just like, I'm just going to not do dating apps and just, go back to how I was. And, I said, end quote, I'm going to go back to the glory days of just, speaking in public and,
Yeah.
being authentic. And I love that you said it because I just don't like the dating apps. And it's like, you might as well just.
Most people don't, but yeah, I think it's just being open to connection. And I love how you approached her. Like you just gave her a compliment. Women love attention, right? Women love attention. Women love to receive compliments. And I think that's such a beautiful and really gentle way of approaching a woman and just engaging, Yeah, you don't know where it's going, but I think if more people could just almost like release the outcome of like, oh, I want something to go somewhere, and just go, I'm just going to look to connect and be open in that way and just see where that leads. So how brilliant we had this conversation. Of course, you're on that vibe too.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm just, I actually don't deleted like the Tinder and all that stuff off my phone a month ago just because, again, and I love what you said with taking away the energy because, like especially at work, your phone's on the charger, not even in sight, but yet you're still thinking about, again, 10:30's lunch break. I'm gonna check my phone and see how many likes did I get, or who messaged me, or I wonder if that girl that I, messaged and DM'd last night, I wonder if she said good morning, or I wonder if she, gave me a compliment, and again, it just goes right back to that dopamine and, could, like you said, can become an addiction. And
Yeah.
then it's taking away your energy from work. You're at work thinking about who's texting you, so you're not focused on your assignment. And so
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really great action because it can leak your energy. And it's a thought. It's a thought. And if it's a thought, then that's where your energy is going. And if you think, where your focus goes, your energy flows.
Awesome, awesome. And so I'm glad you said that because as energy flows, and then we always know, like, you can always tell it with coworkers or friends, like, oh, they look upset, or what's on they look nervous. What's on you? We always ask, what's on your mind? What are you thinking about? And I love that you said that because it goes right into how you think is the energy. And so, can you tell the audience where they could find your coaching and your material on social media?
Yeah, thank you. So on Instagram, I am the Wild Woman CEO, and on Facebook is Claire Dore.
Awesome, awesome. And so again, I hope you guys brought plenty of Band-Aids and ice packs to nick up any, clean up any cuts or bruises. It's been a wonderful episode 18 with Claire from the UK, inside Black Garden. And I'll just end with this. Focus on becoming your authentic self. I hope you guys took something that resonated here today. Look in the mirror and just ask yourself, am I on the right path? And if the answer is no, then figure out, how you can get back to yourself and finding yourself. And I just want everybody to know that you are enough and you owe it to yourself. Nobody owes it to you, but it's not your spouse, not your family, not your kids, not your coworkers, not your schoolmates. It's all ends and begins in you. And so I encourage each and every one of you listening to have confidence in yourself and have courage to pursue the best version of yourself. And so with that being said, it's been a wonderful time, Claire. This has been Dark Law and Claire from episode 18 of the Black Garden, releasing September 20th, 2024. And so until next time on Black Garden, thank you.